The great chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wider than 100 city blocks. Its ceiling arched high above with glass that showed the stars beyond. Thousands of alien delegates filled the seats, their voices mixing in a storm of chatter. Their bodies of every shape, scale, and skin shifting as they whispered about a single subject. Earth on a raised platform at the center. The council speaker, a tall insectoid with glittering wings, slammed his staff against the floor. The sound echoed like thunder, silencing the crowd. Order. The speaker commanded, his mandibles clicking. We meet today to discuss the matter of the Terrans. The name carried across the chamber with a weight that made many sneer. To most of the council, humans were a joke, a primitive race from a death world that had only recently stumbled into faster-than-light travel. They were fragile mammals, their bones breakable, their bodies weak compared to stronger species. To the council, humans were not a threat but a nuisance. One reptilian delegate rose, his scales dark green and his eyes cold. The Terrans must be contained, he hissed. They spread like vermin, building colonies on worlds not assigned. To them, they ignore trade laws, they fight when told to submit. They are nothing but pests. His tail lashed against the polished floor. A wave of agreement rolled through the chamber. Other delegates shouted, "Yes, they must be taught obedience. And extermination is the only answer." Laughter broke out from a cluster of avian diplomats, their feathers shaking as they mocked the idea that humans could resist the might of the galaxy. Yet in the back of the hall, a smaller, quieter group of delegates exchanged nervous glances. They had seen the first reports. They had read the briefings that most ignored. Something was wrong. The speaker raised his staff again. It has been decided. The council fleet has already been dispatched. To discipline the humans, they will surrender or they will be erased. This matter will be closed within a cycle. His wings buzzed, as if the issue was no more important than clearing insects from a field. But before he could end the session, the doors of the chamber burst open. A messenger stumbled in, his pale amphibian skin slick with sweat, his robes torn from haste. He clutched a data slate to his chest, his wide eyes filled with terror. "The fleet," the messenger gasped, collapsing to his knees. "The fleet is gone." For a moment, silence crushed the hall, as though every throat had forgotten how to breathe. Then chaos erupted, voices shrieking in disbelief. "Impossible," one cried. 100 warships, another shouted. "No primitive world could destroy them." The speaker snapped his wings in anger. "Explain." The messenger raised the slate, his hands trembling. "We received fragments of communication before the silence. The Terrans did not surrender, they fought. They unleashed weapons the fleet had never seen. Whole cruisers fell in minutes. Our generals underestimated them. They underestimated everything." He played the final recording, and the chamber filled with sound. A human voice, harsh and cold, cut through the static. "You came to burn our home. Now we will burn yours." Then the feed dissolved into screams and the roar of explosions. The delegates froze. Many had never heard a human voice before. It carried something raw, something that sliced through their arrogance and filled them with unease. The reptilian who had mocked humans earlier stood rigid, his tongue flicking nervously. "They are savages, that is all. They got lucky," he spat. But the shake in his voice betrayed his fear. Another delegate, a gray-skinned cephalopod, whispered, "No, this is not luck. This is retaliation." The speaker tried to steady the chaos. "Even if one fleet has fallen, we will send more. The Council has billions of soldiers, countless ships. They cannot resist forever." But deep in the chamber, doubt spread like wildfire. The Terrans were supposed to be weak. Yet somehow they had destroyed a fleet built to crush entire empires. A hulking ursine delegate rumbled low, his heavy fur bristling. "Do you not see? They come from a death world. Every beast on their planet could kill them, and yet they survived. If they turn that survival against us, what chance do we have?" The words hung heavy. For the first time, the council was forced to imagine humans not as prey, but as predators. The image was unsettling. The messenger raised his voice again, desperate. To be heard, it was not just weapons. It was how they fought. Reports say the Terrans attacked with madness. They rammed ships. They boarded vessels with nothing but blades. They fought even when burning alive. They do not fear death. Gasps spread through the chamber for many. Species, fear of death was the greatest control. Armies broke when casualties rose. Soldiers fled when their lives were threatened. But if Terrans did not break, if they fought even while dying, then how could they ever be stopped? The speaker banged his staff again, harder this time. Cracks forming in the marble floor. Silence, he commanded. We will not tremble over one battle. The Council rules the galaxy, and the Terrans will. Learn respect. His words were strong, but his wings shivered, betraying unease above. The stars glittered coldly through the glass ceiling. Each alien stared upward, and for the first time, some wondered if the stars themselves might now belong. To the humans, far across the void, in the orbit of Earth, human fleets gathered. Their ships patched together from scrapyards and colonies, not elegant but deadly. Inside command ships, men and women stared at maps of enemy space, eyes filled with grim resolve. They had been underestimated, mocked and attacked. Now they were finished waiting. Humanity was preparing its answer, an answer the galaxy was not ready to hear. And deep within the Galactic Council chamber, the whispers would not stop. A single word traveled from mouth to mouth, filled with fear and awe. Retaliation. The first colony burned under an alien sky. Ash fell like snow over broken towers while survivors ran through the rubble. Human children screamed as soldiers dragged them toward transports. The alien overseers watched with cold amusement, convinced this would be another easy conquest. The invaders had done this countless times before. They would take new worlds, enslave the weak, and erase resistance with fire. Earth was supposed to be no different. The lead commander of the raid, a tall insectoid with blades for arms, spoke with contempt as he looked over the broken settlement. Pathetic, he clicked. They fall as soon as we strike. These Terrans are softer than rumors claimed. But in the shadows of a ruined street, a group of humans crouched with rifles built from spare parts. They were miners, farmers, engineers, not soldiers. Yet their faces were hard, their eyes steady. One of them, a scarred woman with soot on her cheeks, whispered, "Wait for the signal." A flash of light burst across the settlement as a hidden explosive tore through an alien patrol. The humans rose with a roar, firing into the invaders at close range. They moved with desperation, with fury, with something the aliens had never seen before. The insectoid commander screeched in rage as his troops fell. "Kill them all," he ordered. But the humans did not break. They fought until their weapons were empty, then used knives, rocks, even their bare hands. Some were crushed, others burned. But they kept coming. The colony did not surrender. It ignited across the galaxy. Reports came of similar outbreaks. On every human colony attacked, the same story unfolded. The Terrans refused to kneel. They built traps, turned mining tools into weapons, and fought in ways that horrified their enemies. One alien report leaked to the Council described it in detail. Terrans ambushed us from underground tunnels. They used their own bodies as shields. One detonated explosives while still clutching our soldiers. They value victory over life. They cannot be broken. The Council dismissed these warnings at first. Arrogance blinded them. They believed humans were reckless, foolish, doomed to burn out quickly. What they did not understand was that humanity was learning on Earth itself. Leaders gathered in underground bunkers. Generals, scientists, and civilians all sat at the same table. The air was tense as holograms of alien fleets flickered in front of them. "We asked for peace," one general said, his voice steady but hard. "They answered with fire. If they want war, then we will give them one they will never forget." Factories that once built farming machines were turned to war production. Old scrapyards became shipyards. Every satellite was repurposed. Every hidden project unlocked. Humanity had nothing left to lose, and that made them unstoppable. One colony broadcast. A message before falling silent. The words echoed across human space. They think we are prey. Let us show them what prey with teeth can do. The next time the invaders came, they expected terror. Instead, they found traps buried in asteroids, mines hidden in orbit, and human ships lying in wait. The first alien cruiser that approached was torn apart by railguns powered with crude but devastating force. An alien pilot screamed over comms as his ship collapsed around him. They should not have this power. How do they strike so hard? But no answer came. Only silence followed as more ships burned. Human tactics were unlike anything the Council fleets understood. They did not follow the clean rules of galactic war. They fought dirty, striking at supply lines, cutting off communications. They turned captured ships against their own masters. An alien admiral tried to reassure his soldiers. They are desperate. Their strength is chaos. They cannot stand against true armies. But the next battle proved him wrong. On the colony of Varos 3, a force of thousands landed to crush the settlement. They marched in formation, armored and armed with energy weapons. The humans met them in the forests, where every tree hid snipers. Every river carried explosives and every cave concealed fighters. The alien commander screamed for retreat. After 3 days of slaughter, his soldiers fled through burning woods, haunted by the faces of humans who refused to die. Back in the council chamber, the whispers grew louder. Some still called humans pests, but others saw something more dangerous. They are not pests. One delegate muttered, "They are predators." The cephalopod delegate who had warned earlier now stood taller, his voice firm. "You think them weak because their bodies are fragile. You do not understand. Fragile creatures that survive death worlds are not weak. They are terrifying." But the council still refused to unite against the truth. Pride was stronger than fear. They voted to send another fleet, larger than the first, to erase Earth completely. The humans knew it was coming. They intercepted the signals. They saw the scale of the armada forming. Yet instead of fear, they prepared with grim determination. On a human warship patched together from 3 different freighters, a young soldier looked at his commander. "Do we really stand a chance against all that?" he asked, his voice shaking. The commander, an old man with lines of steel in his face, put a hand on his shoulder. "We do not need a chance," he said. "We need will, and no one has more will than us." The humans gathered their fleets, their weapons crude but deadly, their hearts burning with rage. They were not fighting for conquest. They were fighting because they had been pushed too far. And when the alien armada entered the Sol system, expecting an easy victory, what they found waiting would change the galaxy forever. The first human shots rang out from orbital cannons hidden on the moon. Kinetic slugs faster than sound ripped through alien shields like paper. Battleships shattered under the weight of Earth's defiance. The invaders screamed in confusion. They are not supposed to have this technology. But confusion turned to terror when human boarding crafts latched onto their hulls. Soldiers in patched armor stormed inside, wielding weapons made for close slaughter. One alien survivor later wrote in his report, "They looked into our eyes as they killed us. There was no fear, only fury. They fought like they had already accepted death. That is why we lost." In the end, the Council fleet that was supposed to break Earth was broken instead. Shattered across the void, survivors drifting in silence. Their screams carried only in black box recordings, and far away, in the chambers of the Galactic Council. The messengers once again carried grim news. The aliens had underestimated not just Earth's weapons, but Earth's spirit. Humanity had shown the galaxy something no one was ready to see. Retaliation had only begun. The vast armada darkened the stars as it moved. Thousands of ships shaped like blades and hammers stretched in endless rows. Their engines glowed with deadly light, their weapons charged with enough power to burn continents. The Galactic Council had gathered its might. This was not a raid. This was an extermination on the flagship. High Commander Velrith stood before a wall of screens. His tall, armored frame gleamed under the lights. His mandibles curved into what his species called a smile. He had crushed rebellions on 20 worlds. He had reduced empires to dust. To him, Earth would be no different. These Terrans believe themselves clever, Velrith hissed to his officers. They fight with chaos, but chaos will not stop fire. Today we erase them from existence. His words echoed through the bridge. Soldiers bowing in obedience, yet beneath his arrogance, a quiet unease ran through the lower ranks. Many of them had seen the black box recordings of the first battles. They had heard the screams of their comrades as humans boarded ships with nothing but blades. They had seen humans charging while aflame. The officers said it was lies, exaggerations, but the whispers remained. As the armada entered the Sol system, silence hung heavy. Earth glowed in the distance, blue and green, fragile against the black void. Velrith sneered. Pathetic, he muttered. A dirt world pretending to stand against us. He raised his claw. Prepare the purge. The first waves of alien ships descended toward Earth. But before their weapons could fire, the void erupted with streaks of metal, railguns hidden. Across asteroids spat death. Massive slugs tore through shields, piercing hulls like paper. Dozens of cruisers split apart in seconds. Velrith snarled. Counterattack, destroy their positions. His fleets turned their guns toward the asteroids, blasting them apart, but as debris scattered, more fire rained down, from the moon's surface, from hidden satellites, from stations disguised as wrecks. Humanity had turned the system into a fortress. Alien ships fell one by one, explosions, lighting the dark like suns. Yet the humans were not done. Out from the shadow of Earth rose fleets of ragtag warships, cobbled together from freighters and mining rigs. They were not elegant, but every weapon they carried was aimed with fury. Impossible. One alien officer shouted as human ships charged head-on. They should scatter, not attack. But scatter they did not. Instead they rammed. They pierced formation. They unleashed volleys of kinetic strikes at point-blank range. Velrith slammed his fist against the console. Hold formation, crush them. But the formation was breaking. Human boarding crafts swarmed like wasps, latching onto alien hulls. Explosions rocked the flagship as alerts screamed. Inside one captured cruiser, human soldiers fought through the corridors. Their armor was patched, their rifles old, yet they moved with relentless purpose. An alien officer tried to rally his men, but a human charged him with a blade glowing red from heat. The alien fell before he could even aim. The humans fought like no soldiers the galaxy had ever seen. They improvised, they adapted. If one weapon failed, they made another from scraps. If one soldier fell, another picked up his rifle and pushed forward. Velrith bared his fangs as reports flooded in. They are everywhere. They are inside our ships. His officers trembled. Commander, we cannot hold them. They fight like, but the officer never finished. A blast ripped through the side of the bridge, hurling bodies into space. Across the system, alien fleets broke apart. Some tried to retreat, but humans chased them, striking at engines, boarding their escape pods, dragging them back into battle. Retreat was not survival, it was only more death. One alien captain sent a final message before his ship exploded. Do not fight them, do not face them. They are not soldiers, they are something else. They are death itself. Back on Earth, human commanders watched the chaos unfold on their screens. General Armitage, his gray hair slicked back, leaned forward with calm eyes. They thought they would crush us with numbers, he said softly. But numbers mean nothing if they bleed fear, another officer smirked. And they are bleeding plenty. The battle raged for hours, the void filled with wreckage. Burning ships drifting lifeless, bodies frozen in silence. Humanity stood scarred, but unbroken. When the smoke cleared, half the Council's grand armada lay destroyed, the rest fled. Into the void, their discipline shattered. Velrith's flagship limped away. Scarred and broken, his pride burned deeper than his wounds. He swore vengeance, but in his heart he felt a fear he had never known. For the first time in galactic history, an extermination fleet had failed, and the galaxy trembled at the thought. In the chambers of the Galactic Council, panic spread like wildfire. Delegates shouted over each other, "This cannot be. No. Species survives the purge. The Terrans must be annihilated before they rise further." But others whispered the words no one wanted to hear. What if they cannot be annihilated? A frail delegate, her skin pale and lined with age, spoke in a voice that silenced the chamber. "We have made a mistake," she said. "We called them vermin, but vermin do not kill lions. We called them prey, but prey does not devour hunters. We have awakened something we cannot put back to sleep." The speaker struck his staff in fury. "Silence, we will not bow to primitives. We are the council, we rule the stars." Yet his wings trembled, his voice cracked. And even he knew the truth pressing against his chest. Far away, on a quiet human ship orbiting Earth, soldiers patched their armor, cleaned their rifles, and stared into the void where wrecks still burned. They did not cheer, they did not celebrate. They only waited, for they knew the council would return, and when they did, humanity would be ready again. The chamber shook with voices. Every delegate shouted at once, claws and tendrils raised, feathers flaring, scales flashing. The once orderly Galactic Council had dissolved into chaos. "They slaughtered the Armada," one voice screamed. "Tens of thousands of ships gone," another cried. "They fight like demons." The speaker slammed his staff again and again, but the sound was drowned in the storm. Fear had poisoned the air. The mighty council, rulers of the stars, now trembled. Because of a species they had mocked as fragile. A thin, long-necked delegate leaned forward, his eyes wide. "We must sue for peace," he rasped. "End it now before they bring ruin to us all." He was met with instant fury. A reptilian slammed his claws down, sparks flying from the desk. "Peace with vermin, never. They must be exterminated." His tail whipped in rage. "Do you not see? If we show weakness, they will rise above us." But another voice shouted from the shadows, "Extermination already failed. How many fleets will you throw into their jaws before you see the truth?" The speaker tried again, his wings buzzing with strain. "The council will restore order. We will not be ruled by fear." Yet even as he spoke, his antennae twitched with unease. The reports burned in his mind: ships lost, commanders dead, humans boarding flagships, as if they were born for war. Then a messenger rushed in, his robes torn, his face pale with terror. He held up a slate. "Council members, the Terrans have struck again." The hall fell into silence. Every delegate froze, staring. "Where?" Someone demanded. "The messenger." "Swallowed. Not in their system, in ours." The words struck harder than any weapon. The council chamber erupted once more. "Impossible. They cannot reach us. They are primitives." But the slate did not lie. It showed images of burned outposts, shattered supply convoys, colonies left in ruins. The humans had gone beyond defense. They were attacking on the far side of the galaxy. A small alien mining world lay in ashes. Human ships had come without warning, striking fast. Their weapons were crude but deadly, their tactics merciless. When the last defenders fell, the humans did not stay to conquer. They left, leaving only wreckage behind. One surviving alien stammered into his recorder before dying. "They are not here for territory. They are here to punish. They strike and vanish. They are ghosts." The delegates trembled as they listened. For centuries, wars had been predictable: worlds taken, populations enslaved, treaties signed. But this was something new. The humans were not playing by galactic rules. They were writing their own. A heavy-voiced Ursine delegate growled, "You do not understand. They are teaching us a lesson. Every strike is a message. They will not stop until the galaxy remembers their pain." Meanwhile, in the black void of council space, human fleets moved like shadows. Each ship was scarred, patched, forged in scrapyards, yet every crew fought with the same burning resolve. On one vessel, Captain Reyes stood at the viewport, watching the wreck of an alien freighter spin in silence. His crew cheered softly, but Reyes only shook his head. "Do not cheer," he said, his voice low. "This is not victory, this is warning." A young pilot frowned. "Warning for who?" "For all of them," Reyes answered. "Every species that thought we would kneel, every empire that thought we would die quietly. We will show them what it means to provoke humanity." Back on Earth, factories roared. New ships rose from old skeletons. Weapons once hidden by treaties were unleashed. Humanity had discovered that fear was its greatest weapon, and the galaxy was choking on it. The Council tried to maintain control. They called emergency sessions. They passed decrees. They vowed revenge, but their words were empty. Their fleets scattered, their unity fractured. Some species began to whisper in private, "Perhaps the humans are right. Perhaps the Council is weak." Others demanded retreat from the war altogether, preferring survival over pride. The once mighty Order of the Stars had cracks deep enough to break. In a dark corner of the chamber, the cephalopod delegate who had warned from the start leaned closer to his peers. His voice was soft but sharp. "We are watching the birth of predators, and we are their prey." That night, in hidden transmissions, Council officers begged their leaders to reconsider. One admiral's voice shook as he reported, "We cannot fight them. They adapt faster than any enemy. We counter their weapons. They invent new ones. We crush one colony, 3 more rise with guns in hand. It is like trying to strangle fire with bare claws." But the speaker, blinded by pride, answered only with denial. "We are the Council. We will prevail. The Terrans will learn their place." His staff struck the ground again, but the sound rang hollow. Far away, human Marines stormed another outpost, cutting through corridors thick with smoke. Their boots left trails of ash, their rifles spat fire. One soldier carved a message into a wall with a knife before leaving. "You came first. We came last. Now we come forever." When alien survivors returned, they found the words. And terror spread faster than any fleet, across trade routes. Whispers began to echo. Merchants spoke of Terran raiders who struck in silence. Soldiers spoke of humans who did not fear death. Civilians spoke of worlds burned for vengeance. The galaxy's fear was growing in the Council chamber. Even the bravest could feel it pressing on their throats. The speaker raised his voice one last time. "We will build another armada, larger than any before. We will unite all species. We will crush them in one final blow." His words shook the chamber, but no one truly believed them. For outside the chamber walls, everyone knew the truth. Humanity was no longer defending, humanity was hunting, and the galaxy had become its prey. Engines lit the darkness as the greatest armada in galactic history gathered. Rows upon rows of warships stretched so far that stars disappeared behind them. Carriers the size of cities drifted beside destroyers bristling with cannons. At the center, a flagship larger than moons burned with power. This was the Council's final answer. Every species had sent ships, armored reptiles, winged avians, massive ursine juggernauts. All had sworn unity. For once the Council was not divided. Their fear of humanity had forced them together. Millions of soldiers filled the decks, waiting for orders on the bridge of the flagship. High Commander Velrith stood once more, his body scarred from the last defeat. His voice carried across coms. "Today we crush the Terrans, today their fire dies." Cheers erupted from thousands of throats, hollow but loud. The armada jumped, tearing through the void, and emerged near the Sol system. Their Earth floated in silence, blue and green, so small against the black. The sight made Velrith sneer. "This is what defies us," he muttered. "This fragile world." His claws tapped the console. "Begin the purge." The first waves of ships advanced, weapons charged. Missiles streaked toward Earth's orbit, but before they struck, the void answered. From hidden platforms in deep space came fire. Kinetic rods screamed down like thunder, each one striking with the force of a meteor. Alien cruisers shattered in half, their wreckage spinning. The armada pressed forward, shields glowing as they tried to absorb the storm. Velrith barked orders, hold advance, overwhelm them. But then something new appeared. A swarm of smaller objects filled the void. They were not ships, they were machines, autonomous drones built by human engineers. Each one carried explosives. Each one hunted targets with cold precision. The drones swarmed like a living storm, latching onto cruisers, tearing into engines, detonating against bridges. Panic spread through alien lines. They are everywhere. One pilot screamed before his ship went dark. Velrith snarled. Sweep them aside, clear the skies. But for every drone destroyed, 2 more appeared, launched from hidden bays across the system. Humanity had unleashed its machines, and they were merciless. Then came the boarding crafts. Hundreds of them, streaking out from Earth's shadow. Human soldiers poured forward, their armor painted black, their rifles sharp. Their war cries filled comms with static that made alien crews freeze. They are coming, someone whispered. The first alien carrier fell within minutes. Human marines stormed its corridors, explosions ripping through bulkheads. Survivors reported seeing eyes that did not blink, hands that did not tremble. Humans fought as if death was a gift they carried into battle. Velrith slammed his fist against the console. Block them. Seal the formation. Do not let them through. But the formation was already breaking. Fear spread faster than his commands. Ships pulled back, shields flickered, and in the chaos, humanity struck harder. From the dark side of the moon, a weapon fired. Long kept secret. It was a rail system buried beneath rock, charging for days in silence. When it unleashed, a single slug ripped across the battlefield, moving faster than light itself. It tore through 3 capital ships in one strike, leaving only fragments glowing red. The sight froze the armada. Millions watched as their strongest vessels vanished in a breath. Velrith's mandibles clattered. This cannot be, he hissed. But his words carried no power on Earth. Generals watched the battle unfold. General Armitage leaned forward, his eyes like stone. Do not let them breathe, he ordered. Press them until they forget how to stand. Officers relayed commands. Fleets shifted. Drones tightened their noose. The galaxy's greatest armada was being devoured piece by piece. Inside one alien cruiser, soldiers barricaded themselves, their commander shouting, "Hold the line!" But the walls shook as human charges blew through. Marines stormed in, blades flashing, rifles thundering. The alien commander raised his weapon, but a human soldier grabbed him by the throat, whispering one word before pulling the trigger. Remember. That word carried across every battlefield. The humans were not fighting only for victory. They were fighting to carve memory into the galaxy's bones. A memory of fire, hours turned to days. The Council Armada fought desperately. But no matter how many humans they killed, more came. No matter how many drones they shot down, more swarmed. It was not numbers that broke them. It was will. The humans refused to stop, refused to retreat. Refused to die quietly. Velrith stood trembling on his bridge as reports flooded in. Sector 6 lost. Sector 9 falling, carriers destroyed, commanders dead. His claws scraped metal. His officers stared at him with fear in their eyes. Not of humans, but of failure. Finally, his second-in-command whispered, "High Commander, we must retreat." Velrith spun, his mandibles flaring. Retreat from primitives. His voice shook with rage. But deep inside, he knew the truth. This was not retreat from primitives. This was retreat from predators. Across the system, ships fled, discipline shattered. The greatest armada in history scattered like dust. Behind them, Earth still burned blue and green, untouched, defiant. As the wreckage drifted in silence, human soldiers carved another message into the remains of a Council battleship, broadcast across every frequency. You came with fire, we answer with fury. This is not the end. This is the beginning. When the message reached the Council chamber, silence gripped the delegates. No one laughed. No one mocked. Their arrogance was gone, replaced only by fear. The cephalopod delegate finally rose, his eyes dark. "We are not witnessing a rebellion," he said, his voice trembling. "We are witnessing the rise of predators who will never kneel. We have awoken death itself." And though the speaker slammed his staff once more, demanding calm, demanding order, the sound rang empty. For in every heart, they knew the truth. Humanity had become unstoppable. The council chamber was silent. The once thunderous voices of 1,000 species had died. Delegates sat frozen, eyes wide, bodies tense. For the first time in living memory, the rulers of the stars were speechless. On the central screen, wreckage drifted, thousands of council warships torn open, fires still burning in the void. The greatest armada in history had been erased. And across every channel, one message repeated, simple, merciless, human. "We are not prey." The speaker's staff shook in his hands. His wings quivered as he forced words from his mandibles. "This cannot be final. The council cannot fall to primitives." But even his voice broke. His staff's echo sounded like a plea, not command. Delegates exchanged looks, not of unity, but of terror. Some whispered of surrender. Others of retreat to their home systems. One by one, their pride cracked. Fear filled the cracks. Then the doors opened. A second messenger stumbled in, robes torn, face pale. His hands trembled as he held out a slate. "They have struck again." Gasps spread across the chamber. "Where now?" someone demanded. The messenger swallowed. "Not in their system, in ours, core worlds. The Terrans have gone deeper than anyone believed possible. They are everywhere." The screen flickered with images of burning colonies, shattered fleets, destroyed supply stations, human ships darting like shadows, never holding ground, only striking. Their strategy was clear. They were not conquering, they were punishing. "They are teaching us fear," a delegate whispered, his scales dull. At that moment, every cum line in the chamber went dark. Then a human face appeared, scarred eyes, hard as stone. Behind him burned the wreckage of a council ship. His voice was steady, cold. "You came to us with chains and fire," he said. "You called us weak, fragile prey. You burned our homes. You killed our children. You wanted us erased. You thought we would kneel." He leaned closer, his gaze piercing every delegate as if he saw into their souls. "Now you will remember this for as long as stars burn. Humanity kneels to no one." Feed cut to static. Silence gripped the chamber tighter than chains. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the speaker stared as if frozen. Far across the galaxy, council fleets retreated to their homeworlds. Soldiers deserted. Commanders hesitated. The fear of humans had grown larger than any war. It lived in every shadow, every whisper on Earth. Celebrations never came. The cities still bore scars. The colonies still grieved their dead. In underground bunkers, generals stood around maps. They did not cheer. They did not call themselves victors. General Armitage spoke with calm certainty. "This is not triumph. This is warning." His officers nodded, for they knew what he meant. In orbit, human warships floated silently, patched and scarred. They were not beautiful, but they were alive inside. Soldiers cleaned rifles, replaced armor plates, checked engines. There was no rest, no joy, only preparation. They had learned one truth. Survival required endless readiness. In one quiet corner, Captain Reyes spoke to his crew, his voice low but sharp. "The Council will return. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they will come again. And when they do, we will be stronger. We will be sharper. They will never find us weak." His crew answered with steady eyes. Their silence was stronger than cheers. But the galaxy did not wait for another attack. The galaxy bent. Species once loyal to the Council began to whisper of rebellion. Others declared neutrality. A few even reached out in secret to humans. Desperate to be spared their wrath, the Council tried to stand tall, tried to roar commands, but their voice was broken. No decree could erase the fear. Every species had seen the images, had heard the human vow. "We kneel to no one." In taverns across alien worlds, stories grew, tales of humans who fought while burning, Humans who rammed ships twice their size. Humans who carved vengeance into steel. The myths spread faster than facts. And myths were more dangerous. Children of other races whispered under their breath, "Don't anger the Terrans." Merchants rerouted ships away from human space. Pirates turned back when they saw human patrols. Fear had done what fleets could not. Humanity had redrawn the galaxy. Back on Earth, a child stood beside the ruins of a city. He looked at the sky where warships glowed in orbit. His small hand clenched. His voice whispered with the same fire that filled his people. "Let them come again." That whisper carried in the hearts of millions. It was not hate alone. It was survival. It was the memory of fire that had burned their homes. Humanity would never forget. Humanity would never forgive. In the council chamber, days later, the speaker stood once more. His voice was hollow. "We must rebuild. We must find strength." But his words fell to silence. No one believed him. They had all seen the truth. Humanity was strength. Humanity was fire. Humanity was the shadow now haunting every world. And so the galaxy shifted. The council no longer ruled with fear. They ruled with dread in their own hearts, for above every law, above every threat, one truth burned into the stars. Earth had answered, and the galaxy would never be the same.